And I think there is a tension there, and I think that the union movement either has to resolve that tension in favour of all workers who are currently present in Australia. If we defend the rights of all workers, borders or no borders, we defend the rights of every worker. And I'm not hearing that voice in the movement today. And I'm one of those people who really needs to start hearing that voice.
They're going to re-describe what a worker is, and people coming in will not be considered to be workers.
That's right. They're not going to be covered by any of these agreements, and it just forces wages down and down and down.
I just wanted to respond to that to say it is absolutely on the radar of the union movement, both in WA but also through the ACTU. So the whole question of workers who are here and subject to exploitation because of their temporary or their visa status, for want of a better description. So, and we at Unions WA actively engage in various kind of groups that are looking at trafficking and modern slavery. We frequently, are engaging in that space, and I think we're quite clear. Just today, in fact, there's been 2 unions talking at a conference at UWA, and we've participated in it for the last 3 years. It's about migration and mobilities. We help in the planning of that, so we're quite engaged in that space. And I think our message has been clear for a long time that we've got 2 objectives. So one is that we want to see the jobs that are created in this country made available for Australian workers, and that where people come here on temporary visas, they should be protected. We should have a permanent migration scheme so that people come here with the prospect of becoming permanent citizens and getting permanent jobs. But if there is to be temporary visa arrangements, then they need to have all the same rights and entitlements, and there needs to be better enforcement to stop the kind of exploitation that's going on. So we have, worked, I think, quite hard in the space of trying to improve the regulation, improve the protection for people. It is incredibly difficult because people are so vulnerable. I think where there is challenges is where there are those individual cases, and 7-Eleven is a good example where none of those workers would have been unionised. So in terms of those workers prosecuting their individual rights, they weren't in the relevant union. They wouldn't, like many workers, perhaps wouldn't even know where to start to find out which union they should be. And of course, very concerned about taking any steps to protect their rights because of the fact that they're probably most likely to be deported the moment that they do. So the enforcement structures make it very difficult for those individual cases to kind of get resolved. And as I say, the reality is many of them are not in the union movement, which means they do kind of fall through the cracks. But I think as a movement, we're very clear on this. We've been increasingly active in this space. And I agree with you that fundamentally that's right. Any worker that's in this country should have their rights protected and shouldn't be subject to exploitation. I just think there's no question about that. I agree with you.
Thanks for everything tonight, comrades. It's been great. I'm from the NTU. I've been negotiating the enterprise agreements for all 4 public universities for the last year and a half, living that nightmare. Just a plug, the 26th of September is when the Murdoch Enterprise Agreement is formally terminated. Get amongst it. We'll be having a number of things out on the campus, so if there are any alumni in the room, or if anyone feels like taking a day's leave and coming out for the funeral procession we'll do for the agreement, it's going to be fun. I was at the briefing, I think the other week, with Meredith at Unions WA with Jeff Derrick about the Change the Rules campaign, and one thing that I've been thinking about a little bit since then is the point that Jeff made about making Change the Rules one of the top 3 election issues because those are the ones that move votes. And I think he said that housing prices, electricity prices, and border security were the 3 main voter issues at the moment, and that obviously we were gunning for one of those spots. I just wanted to hear from the panel if they two things. One, what they think the likelihood is of being able to become one of those top 3 issues, and what vision we have to actually achieve that.
Okay, there you go.
Look, I think there's every chance, and I think there is already some traction. Like having gone to Next Gen, which was a few weeks ago now, hearing about the key issues about why we need to change the rules, hearing about inequality, hearing about the business model that corporations are using to exploit workers and sort of drive that gap even further, the inequality gap. And then a few weeks later, hearing Bill Shorten talk a lot about inequality. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think if as a movement through Sally McManus and the ACTU, we can actually start driving the narrative, and then you get the alternative Prime Minister picking up that narrative and using that and claiming it as his own and making that an election issue. I think that's the first step to trying to get the broader issue of changing the rules, workers' rights, the industrial relations landscape, inequality, into that top 3 election issues. So I think it's already starting to happen. We just need to keep driving it all the way to the next federal election. That's my view.
Just before I move on to the next person asking a question, would it be okay for people to give you their email addresses if they want to hear about the actions at Murdoch?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah?
No problem at all. Just on that, there's a couple of actions I'd encourage everyone to do then if you do want to keep up to date about what's happening at Murdoch. We went back to the negotiating table with them today. They showed up saying they wanted to talk about process, and it took 15 minutes for them to tell us that they wanted to do things the way they'd always done them. Leaving that to one side, the NTU WA Division Facebook page is a great source of everything that's going on. If you jump on the website, there's a specific Murdoch University branch website as well that you can link to off the main NTU webpage. You can sign up for all the newsletters and everything there as well, and that'll keep you up to date with what's going on. But if anyone wants to know more about it or to give me their details about all of that, I can make sure you get onto the list. So by all means, come and have a chat.
Thank you.
No, look, it may have been raised when I ducked off to the loo. Is there anything actually planned from an ACTU level, like some sort of national get out in the streets and start yelling at buildings type stuff?
Yeah, so a few things.